welcome to Fishing Britain. This week we've got another question answered by an expert. We've got a casting clinic specifically for all you river anglers. We've got the old favourites, Hooked on YouTube and Fishing Britain News. But first we take Kermit out in that pimped up predator boat on Llangorse Lake.
We are out with Mr. Palmer and the Morgan.
So what are you doing?
I'm tweeting about this wonderful boat that we're going fishing on today.
And we're going to take that pimped predator boat out for a spin on Llangorse Lake at last. Oh look, it looks like Hywel has found a new favourite toy hiding in Gary's tackle box.
Well folks, have you seen anything like this? It's actually a frog, but an alien frog. I've never seen anything like this in our country. But Gary's going to show us all about them.
We love frogging. Frogging is weedless. You can throw a frog anywhere you want. You'd be amazed where you find them. You really would. I mean, today I've been looking around for one everywhere. And oh, what's that? It's a frog. Pike comes along. No good if it can't get the hook. Pike bites it, it collapses, crushes, in go the hooks. It's as simple as that. Let's see just how weedless they actually are. Not a miscast. I'm after the pigeon nest in the top of the tree. One King Daddy frog. And then we literally just reel it up. It's going up through the branches, the leaves, everything, not getting caught on anything. And then it literally just falls out. Oh, it's falling in the back of a boat. But it doesn't matter because it just falls into the water. All the way over, climbs up onto the bridge, has a little walk along the top of the bridge, hops along, and then hops into the water. Swims across the water, and then climbs out the other side as well. That is why we love frog fishing.
Ah, that's why I've never seen them. It's a tree frog.
Oh dear. Don't stand there ribbiting on, hop to it and get out there. I feel like the puns are only going to get worse. But first, coot fight!
Fight.
Hadouken!
Combo. Game over.
Frogging is usually best done on warm, sunny, still days, as the fish lay in wait under the lily pads. Though the sun is shining, at the moment the wind is really starting to whip up. But we pull the boat over to the side halfway up the lake to see if we can find anything using the soft plastics. I thought this boat had built-in fish finders.
Well, to start with, people tend to call them fish finders. They're certainly not. They'll help you to find the locations where the fish live, but they certainly don't show you where the fish are. Real common misconception, it will show you bait shoals, it'll show you individual fish, but it's not a fish finder, it's a depth finder. We've got two on board the boat. I've got the smaller one in the console. This also runs all the GPS, mapping systems, etc. And then a larger screen at the front, which is where most of the fishing goes on. Can you go fishing without them? Of course you can. Do they make life easier? Yes, they certainly do.
Do they catch you more fish?
Oh, debatable. It helps.
Wow, this boat seems like it has everything. Isn't it right, Hal?
All this kit, all this technical stuff, but he hasn't got a cup holder.
Just throwing little taps every now and again. That's come back relatively easily. I think it only hit the weed once. I was just reeling that one in, felt a little tap, which was a fish, a little bit of a drum, struck, missed it, and that's the reason why. Some thieving fish has decided to grab my tail, bite it clean off and swim off with it.
If he likes the tail, he might like all of mine. Ooh, some bait fish just jumped out of there as well.
Not to let a hungry fish go without a meal, only a caring, non-competitive fisherman would keep his mate's swim active for him.
Just before Gary gets his one ring up.
I think you must have scared them all away, Hal. Let's hop to the lily pads and see if we can cause a bit of Kermit commotion. There's a lot to do when you're one person trying to film everything that's going on, and as soon as you put your camera down to get some arty shots of some lilies, all of this happens.
Checked it out. Started talking to myself, started talking to the frog. Didn't work. Lily pad over there, came off there, had a big fish, hit me sideways on for a split second. Gary told me after the fact to say, well, when it takes, hit it, try and break a rod, but he didn't tell me that the first time, did he? So then put it on that lily pad, pulled it off, a couple of tweaks, came up behind, swallowed the frog and let go. Oh well.
Has Hal blown his big fish on a frog opportunity by not striking properly? In some ways he's quite lucky, as he timed it quite badly with me not having the right camera to hand. We know there are big piking here, and so does Gary, because he's had them out up to £21, but it wasn't an easy catch.
Fishing here a couple of seasons ago, nice sunny weather, lots of lilies everywhere. We could see the fish in the lilies, but what we couldn't do was get a lure to stay in the hang area long enough for these fish to hit it. Drifted up into the area, all the motors up out the way so as we could just drift over the lily pads, drop the anchor down in the middle. First cast, bang, flash through the water, big fish on. We didn't realise how big at the time, but we knew it was going to be a good one. After a couple of minutes, it decided to be sneaky and belt round the anchor chain. That was it. Rod on the floor, lying over the boat, arms in, trying to scare it back round in the right direction. As it came round, grabbing hold of the line, wrapped the line around my hand, not realising it was cutting in. Don't do that with a big fish on. And actually hand land it to the boat. So the last 6 foot, not even done with a rod. Out it comes, stunning condition, Llangorse 21 pounder.
So, with our enthusiasm reignited despite the closing in weather, we've popped out to one of the most unlikeliest spots on the lake to try again with the soft plastics.
That's all right.
These Welsh jacks are super acrobatic, and despite the canoeists, water skiers and tourists, they don't care, they just keep coming. We just have to be careful where we cast.
Yeah, come on. Right by the side of the boat. Here he comes.
Oh, nice fish.
I'll do that again as well.
Oh, I just got a take as well. Oh, yes. That was again right by the boat. Oh, he swallowed that.
Let's get him in and out, and he's going to go again.
Yeah. Oh, that's the little one.
Oh.
Greedy so-and-so.
If it was a test to see who could catch the smallest fish, I think we may have a winner.
It's a lot bigger than the last one I hooked. Oh, look at that. And a gorgeous fish. Look at him. Oh. Just in a lip. Look at that. Perfect. Gary's got lures bigger than this that we can use.
Excellent. Hold him up profile again for me. Oh, come on.
That one.
And we couldn't finish without a quick greedy perch.
No, that's not my lure. That's a perch that I've caught on a lure. Have a look. Look and compare the size of them. Greedy little so-and-sos. Over half his size and still thinks he can eat it. Yeah.
Even though we didn't get too much of an opportunity to swim the frogs, we love frog fishing, and we'll be back again very soon to get that big crash on the water for you. If you would like to have a go, then pop to llangorselake.co.uk. Or if you would like to try it out in the capable hands of Gary, then contact him at river-guide.co.uk.
Frogtastic! That was awesome. I tell you what, I'll be doing it pretty soon again when this weather changes. Now, warts and all, here's David with the news.
This is Fishing Britain news. A Briton on holiday in Thailand has caught the world's heaviest carp. Andy Harmon from Surrey landed the whopping 150-pound Siamese Carp. It took almost an hour to land and he hooked it on a lump of bread. The previous record was a 134-pound fish, also caught in Thailand. Another world record has fallen in the last week. This one is for the Rio Grande cichlid, related to the tilapia. Retired police officer Charles Dewey caught it in his home state of Texas. It weighed 2.02 pounds and measured 11.1 inches. He released the fish after weighing it. The summer Scottish salmon have been disastrous. Rivers all over Scotland are reporting poor catches with few grilse. Bass stocks are also in crisis. The Angling Trust has written to UK Fisheries Minister George Eustace, calling on him to introduce a series of conservation measures to protect UK bass stocks in the face of the latest scientific advice from the International Council for the Exploration of the Seas. It's recommended a staggering 80% cut in catches in order to protect the future of the species. There's a new fishing sensation in the USA. Carl Nageli catches fish in his neighbourhood's sewer system. The 16-year-old calls himself the Fish Whisperer. And finally, viral film of the week is a 4-foot-long black-tip shark that's been reeled into a boat off Florida when this happens. It was a goliath grouper that ate the shark whole. You are now up to date with Fishing Britain news. Fishing for facts, landing the stories.
Thank you, David. Now it's time for Casting Clinic. Trout fishing on rivers can be really challenging. Not only is the water moving and you've got all this line management, but you've got different currents and the fish could be another side of a slow current or a fast current, and you have to do a lot of different things when you're casting. It's not just a case of just casting out straight as you do on still waters, but there could be different currents. So I'm going to give you a little training tip here. It's aerial mend. Just imagine you're fishing across a river and you're faced with some fast water closer to you and then some slower water where the fish are feeding. Now, the problem is, if you cast directly across, what will happen is where that fast water will grab your line and drag your fly out of the way. You might get sort of 2 or 3 seconds where the fly is sat, fishing properly, and then suddenly it's ripped out of the way of the fish. So here we were going to do. What we want to do, we want to put some slack line in where the fast water is. So the way to do this is, first of all, get out on the grass. In front of me, I've got a bag. Now that represents the fast flowing water. So I want to put a mend exactly where that bag is. So what we do is, first of all, we're going to cast straight. Now you're going to deliver the fly out there, but then where the bag is, you're going to maneuver the rod tip around the bag. Now when you're doing this, don't put any power into it whatsoever, otherwise it affects where the fly goes. So simple and easy, what we do, point and then maneuver around the bag. And what you'll see then is you've thrown an upstream loop directly where that fast flow is. Now the reason I've got a bag there is this. Sometimes when you're faced on the river, the flow might be closer to you. So you can step closer to the bag and then get the mend really late in the cast. Then sometimes that flow is further away from you. So you can step away from the bag and then put the mend a little bit closer to the fly. That way, when you can change the mend whether closer to you or later in the cast, you can actually dictate exactly where. So when you're faced with the water, there's a fast flow here or a fast flow there or a fast flow there, you can put the mend exactly where you are. Otherwise, if you don't have the bag there, you'll just put the mend anywhere you want and you won't be able to dictate exactly where that upstream loop is. So remember, put the bag there point the rod beyond the bag and then move it around the bag. Simple and easy. There you go, a great cast to fool those tricky trout. Now it's time for Ask the Expert.
Another great question sent in to our experts comes from Tony Dean. She asks, what type of material is best for pike fishing traces? Tony, here's your expert.
It's not a case of one or the other. I tend to use both depending on the situation, the fish, location, lures, etc. A couple of things to start with. One of the main things is you can see the difference in thickness between the wire, which is 40-pound titanium, and this one, which is a fluorocarbon 100-pound breaking strain. You can see the difference in the thickness straight away. One of the things that I prefer about fluoro is when you're trolling, especially, a pike can roll up the line. When it rolls up the line, I can pull that as hard as I want. My finger will go red and eventually drop off, but it's not going to cut in. If I try doing that with the wire, it's literally like a cheese wire. If I pull it any tighter than that, it's going to start to cut in. That's exactly what it does when it wraps around any fish, whether that be a pike, perch, whatever, that can cut into them as well. One of the main advantages with fluorocarbon, it is impossible to kink it. Literally, you can wrap it round, you can tie it in a knot, untie it, and it'll just spring straight back to shape again. They don't deform. If they do, from where they've been coiled, you simply straighten them out, leave them straightened out for a couple of minutes, and they'll stay like it. Bomb-proof except with sharp edges. Very good abrasion resistance, so bouncing over rocks, edges of walls, trees, branches, anything, nothing like that will damage them. Also, because it's clear, you can see if there's any teeth marks in it, any catches, if it's starting to degrade, and simply throw it away. It's not worthwhile risking second-hand or old traces. If they're not up to it, dump them. A couple of things that people always go on about with fluorocarbon: it's invisible. I can see it, you can see it, therefore it's not invisible. When it's in water, it's got almost the same refractive index, so it should disappear. However, it still doesn't. It's less visible than a trace wire, but they are by no means invisible. It's the toughness, it's the longevity, that's the main factors that I like with them. Wire traces, obvious advantage, it's thinner, cuts down through the water quicker. It is 100% tooth-proof, whereas fluorocarbon isn't. So wire will not get bitten through. However, it gets kinked, it gets trapped, and when it goes, it just snaps. So yes, the pike isn't going to be able to bite through the wire, but you could still lose it because of the components or the trace itself failing. So which do I prefer? Both. Which do I use the most? Probably fluorocarbon. However, there's a place for both in everybody's tackle box.
If you have a question for Ask an Expert, then tweet, post or send it to us, either filmed or typed, and we'll find a fishing expert to answer it for you.
There you go, fantastic tips there from Gary. Now it's time to see what you lot have been up to. Here's Charlie with Hooked on YouTube.
Charlie Jacoby here. This is my weekly roundup of the best fishing on YouTube. Simon Taylor has a good following. He makes films about his fishing exploits after fish, including pike and tench. This is his film about the season opener, but his whole channel is worth a visit. Here's an interesting idea: fishing with a hunter hand line. Night Hunter Whippets is trying it out in a Derbyshire stream. German fishing channel Angeln.de is after Zander. Don't be put off by the German. We're in Australia for a trailer, but it gives a few clues to what fishing is like here. A group of Rapala pro anglers are after jungle perch in North Queensland. It's a completely different climate in Tasmania. Christian Messer takes nice drone footage of trout fishing and scurfing, that's tow surfing, on the South Esk River. For stingray fishing in Southeast Asia, here is Tanjung Penang Fishing 2014. Tanjung Penang is the fishing town and they don't get stung, so they obviously know what they're doing. To the USA, Ken Tanaka of Wish for Fish goes out to find wild trout in Pennsylvania, where he catches bronies on summertime terrestrials. And finally, who says the Mediterranean is glamorous and hot? spot. Here is TV Jenica fishing in heavy weather on the Adriatic. Click on the links to watch the videos or you will find them in this film's description. If you would like to send in a video for Hooked on YouTube, ping me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv.
Well folks, that's it for another week. I hope you've enjoyed the programme. If you have, hit the subscribe button and tell all your friends. Share it. If you want to know more about all the other programmes on the channel, visit our website, fieldsportschannel.tv, and fill out the constant contact form. Don't forget to like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. I'll see you next week on Fishing Britain.